Hello, hello, hello. It is Wednesday once again. How are you guys doing? I hope awesome. I hope at least one of us is. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a rough week. I guess a lot of people are catching the flu, and I'm like at the very end of it. So if my voice starts to go, yeah, it's not my fault. It's viruses and whatnots. So yeah, if you haven't been to a thumbnail live stream before, this is how it goes. Basically, what we do is well, in the description, I guess, maybe I'll explain that. In the description, there are two links. One is for gaming channels and one is for non-gaming channels. And if you want your thumbnail reviewed, click on the one that applies to you. And if you don't know that, well, then I can't help you. But basically, you just submit the thumbnail, the video link, not your channel link, the video link, and then that's the thumbnail we will take a look at, because it is not only me here, it is Dano!
Huh?
Dan's here, guys.
Hey, I heard you went viral.
Dan is here. So, yeah, anyway, what we will do is we will use Dan's nifty little extension here to get a random number.
Hey, I made that.
Yeah, he did. We'll click, get a random one, and we'll alternate between gaming and non-gaming, and hopefully your number gets picked. But it won't get picked if you do not submit your video link. So you have to do that.
That's true.
Do it.
Hey,
now.
I started a poll, by the way. If you're, as you're picking this channel, I said, hey, do you use the thumbnail comparison tool for any of your videos? And people are still voting on it, but it's like split 4 ways. It's kind of wild. 21% say always, 32% say sometimes, 24% say never, and 22% said, what's that? So
okay.
we want to show that at some point. But I was really afraid to put that as an option because I didn't know how many of you wouldn't know what that is. You can now test up to 3 thumbnails on one video at like the same time. And what happens is YouTube is going to show those thumbnails, it's going to put the video out there and it's going to test it with different audiences, basically, all these different thumbnails. And whichever one gets more clicks, YouTube will automatically apply it to your video. That's what it is. Everyone should have it at this point, and we're going to be talking about it a bit today because just before the stream, John and I were talking about it. It is, since this is the thumbnail stream, probably one of the most important YouTube tools in your tool belt as you look to strategize around thumbnails. This is what it looks like. When you see results like this, it's probably not super helpful.
Right.
In this case, it would have chosen thumbnail B. But sometimes when they're very close, it could be all kinds of things. It could be you have 3 great thumbnails. It could be you have 3 horrible thumbnails. It could be your title isn't resonating. This one for John, thumbnail 2 was the winner. Now visible to all viewers. It's a really solid tool. And it's one people are like, should I always use it? Should I sometimes use it? Should I never use it? In my opinion, it's something you can use up until the point where you feel like I have a good rhythm. Like I kind of know now what thumbnails typically work, especially if you kind of templatize your thumbnails. You don't have to use this all the time. But if you've been wondering, like, gosh, does my face work in thumbnails or should I try a version without it? Now you can do both and see what happens. It's pretty cool.
I actually came across that recently. Dan knows for a while I'm fairly new to vidIQ. I've only been here for like a year, a little over a year. And I always thought maybe my face doesn't belong in thumbnails for a while because people don't recognize me. There's no familiarity there, and it would only hurt until they got used to me. And it did start out like that a little bit. And then I've recently noticed from a couple test and compares that the ones with my face in them seem to get more views now. Yeah, I actually have an example of this. This one isn't as solid as what I'm pitching, but this was the second test and compare. And what's funny is it's the exact same one that won the first one, and it won the second one too. And a lot of people, they ask, what should we test and compare? And I guess the first test is, 3 completely different thumbnails, which is what I did in the first one. And then you go for a little more similar thumbnails, I guess, which I use the 0 to 1 million on all of them. And yeah, just like slight changes. And then at the end of that, I'm testing a new one. Once you realize what people are clicking on and watching all the way through, my new one is the same picture with just different words at the bottom on each of them, which is pretty much what Ryan Trahan does a lot.
And you don't even have to go that far. If you want to keep running tests on one video, you can do that forever if you want to. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, we're nerds. We love this stuff. We're obviously gonna try. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt.
it's just super cool that we can actually do that. It's my favorite new YouTube tool of the year. If we gave awards for tools, that would be in my top list. I don't even know if there would be anything better, honestly.
I would like to see the CTR as well as the watch time share, because it's like, yeah, the results are based off of watch time. When people click, the more watch time it gets, those are the thumbnails that win. It's not the ones that get the most clicks. So it's tough.
They mentioned why that is. I can't remember where that is now. Someone from YouTube, I think, talked about that.
It was Todd. Todd Beaupre said the reason that we did watch time is because we didn't want people to figure out like how to get really good at clickbaiting. And that's
right.
like, yeah, that's how it, I don't remember who he had that conversation with, but I do remember hearing that podcast.
Yeah, it's important to make sure that, because YouTube wants to make sure that your videos are going to kind of deliver on their promise. You can promise anything you want in a title and a thumbnail. It's the watch time that proves whether or not you kind of met that promise to the viewer. And that makes sense.
Yep, no doubt. And when we end up with results that are 33, 33, 33, and they're all the same, to me, it just kind of says like, look, people are watching this the same amount of time. Maybe you don't have a thumbnail that really pops out. And I think, Dan, I believe you were the one that kind of brought that up to me. And it took me a long time to really wrap my head around that it's not CTR. It's hard to remember.
I forget that a lot too. And it's just, it's the most unhelpful result when your thumbnail is like split evenly. So you just really don't know, like, is it the content? Is it the thumbnails that just aren't hitting it? What is it? You know, and oftentimes if you keep trying things, titles, thumbnails, so I have a video like this right now on the personal side. And like, I just have to admit, I think that the content is just not what people want. I've tried to pitch this video 1,000 different ways and you know, it just isn't hitting. So it's just like, all right, well, I tried.
Oh, it's it's a cool tool. I mean, I hope they give us options to change what results we get, at least that one day, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what we're gonna do is start with non-gaming channels, and what I like to do is select the very first people that submit, and the way that I usually tell them, and I didn't tell them today, but I let them know in the Discord, our public Discord, that, yeah, I picked you because you were number one. And today's number one non-gaming channel was Wozzywick. And I have had a chat on Discord with this guy. We were working on... Oh, no, wait. He was in a stream, and there was, like, a question about one of his videos, and I didn't understand it, so I said message me in Discord, which I do sometimes. And then we talked about it, and it was this video right here. So I want to talk about this first before we get to the thumbnail that he submitted, because it kind of brings up the same point to me. So I can't remember what the original was, but the point that I was trying to make for him is that there needs to be some point of curiosity about this show. And the idea that I came up with is like find a really good screen cap of the guy. And now I remember the quality of the video quality that he had was really terrible. It's the only quality that exists. So I said, make it look like an old TV then, because then it'll just kind of make sense. And you got this drunk pointing at this guy, and it's like, there's the curiosity. Now, with this one, I just kind of want to point out that your face and this text right here, it's extra elements that I didn't suggest. And the reason is because it adds more to be understood. And you kind of want to get your point across in about 2 seconds. So I'm going to show the original that I whipped up for you real quick. Wozzy, if you're here. This was the one that I did, that I sent to him. And it's definitely not my best work, but we had kind of talked about this before the stream. It would be really cool if you could A/B test these just to see if this one works a little bit better, if people understand it faster, versus this one, which has a few more elements that they kind of have to put the puzzle together because we know when people start scrolling through YouTube, if they got a puzzle to put together, they're just gonna look at the next one.
And I'm glad you brought up the puzzle analogy, because what's I'm feeling like what's given to me is the thumbnail you showed me. It makes me feel like someone was drunk on an old quiz show. That's kind of interesting. This is saying someone was drunk on an old quiz show. Also, they lived in the quiz show. And I have these extra pieces. And I'm like, wait, so what's the video about? Is it about the quiz show or the fact that people were living in the quiz show? And what does that mean? What does that look like? So someone suggested removing the text at the bottom. I completely agree. If you're going to put your face in the thumbnail as a test, like we were just saying, like, why don't you compare one with your face, one without? When you take face pictures, this is for everybody, try looking at the lens. It's tempting to look at the screen or somewhere else, like where you can see what your face looks like. Like, let's say if you're holding your phone, like, you know how the camera is at the top of your phone, you're maybe looking down at the screen on your phone because you're like, well, what do I look like right now? And then you snap the picture, but you're not making eye contact with the lens anymore. You're looking here. You need to look here. So that's what's happening with this picture, I think. I think they are looking at themselves and not looking at the lens. And that means you're not connecting with the viewer. So the putting your face on the thumbnail part, the whole point of people doing that is to make a connection with the viewer. And you are now like not even doing that part. And it doesn't, your eyes can be somewhere else, but it needs to be, in my opinion, like you're kind of looking at something on the screen that's also important. So if you're not going to look at me, you should be looking at the thing over here or the thing over here. And that's not what's happening. So
yeah, if you're looking so close to the camera, it does look like you're looking at yourself. But if you're like looking this way, like a reaction video, then there's a huge difference in that. I never really thought about the difference of angle there, but that is very, very true.
Yeah, if I take like thumbnail photos, I usually just hit record and then make faces. But I'll do one over here. I'll do one over here. I'll do one at the lens. I'll try all kinds of stuff, and it's just to give myself variety. And also, like, I don't know what's gonna work. Like, once I start cutting myself out and putting myself in the thumbnail, what's gonna look the best, you know? And sometimes the way cameras are, you're not sure which way you're actually facing when you make the thumbnail. And I don't like flipping myself in Photoshop because I see it, no one else will care, but like my hair part moves. I'm like, well, that's not how it normally looks. And so it's stupid stuff like that. I'd rather just have both options. So yeah, I go on, like, take an afternoon and just take a bunch of pictures of yourself and, you know, dedicate a day to that. Don't do it when you have a video in the back of your mind, like, I got to get this uploaded tonight. Just take some time, like when you have some free time, and like just get a whole slew of face pictures. And then, like we suggested, maybe test some with your face and some without, you know, because I think the thumbnail John showed, I don't know what the title is of that video, but I'm already intrigued just because it's like, look, someone was drunk on an old quiz show. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. What's the title? What's this video about?
Now, I could understand why he wouldn't want this to only be the only information. And the fact is, in that show, it was like it was a very chaotic reality show where all these people sort of lived together, but then the host kept talking over everybody, and it was just insane. And then the narrator would talk randomly while like they were saying important stuff. It was like there was no direction at all. So it was this big bunch of chaos, and I could understand that he would probably want to get that across through the packaging, but you don't have to. That's the thing is, like, if somebody's doing a let's play of a video game, they don't have to put every single detail of what's in that video on the thumbnail. They could just focus on one crazy part, and that's the hook. That's what gets you in, and then you kind of learn the story as you watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would love to see if you could A/B this. You can use the one I did. I don't mind. You can improve it. Yeah. So hopefully there's a little bit of that to help you out. This was that was the one that he submitted, I believe. Nope, it wasn't. It was this one. So, this was the one. I kind of don't understand what it is. For one, you being in it does make it look sort of out of place. This kind of looks like Mr. Beast was 20 years. Okay. Oh, I think that this is sort of like a Mr. Beast-esque show.
Is it like game shows then and now?
I think so.
That could be, but that took a long time for me to get to that conclusion.
Right.
So Yeah, this is again a case where I get you want to brand the thumbnails with your image. It's not doing anything to help this thumbnail, in my opinion. And also, when you do before and after, I suggest putting before on the left, after on the right. You've kind of flipped it, and it's making me think one extra tick harder. It's just what one. You're starting to run processes in my brain that I don't have time to run because I'm scrolling through YouTube.
There is a subreddit called After Before, and it is literally this problem that for some reason, like in the later 2010s or whatever, people started doing it the opposite way, like showing the result first. I don't know. I don't know why. It's a phenomenon to me. Yeah. So, picking out the obvious here for me is it's just like the concept. Right, so I used to say it every time when we start these streams. The three things you want to do is convey the idea, create curiosity, and catch the eye. It's like the 3 C's of thumbnails. And this one is struggling to convey the idea, which is the first thing you need to focus on. So I don't know. I don't exactly know what I would do to change this up.
They're in the ballpark for sure.
Yeah. If there was something that was more obvious that it was a game show. I didn't understand that this was a car that these people were touching because your head's in the way. And then these people are behind this car, so you don't know that it's them doing the same thing. Now I'm starting to piece it together more and more as I look at it, but nobody's going to give you more than 2 seconds. So
right.
I would keep that. And once again, if your face is in it and people don't know you, you might be repelling people more than them like being interested. It's just that's familiarity bias. Once you get big enough, people click on your face because they know you. But until then, sometimes it's just about getting that idea across.
Yeah, I think I like the title of this brutal British TV show, Inspire Mr. Beast. That's a good title, and I think like a lot of people are saying just remove the face. And yeah, so if you don't want to take her before and after advice or anything like that, you could at the very least try a version without you in it. No matter what, though, yeah, someone else said Mr. Beast is already there taking up a lot of the thumbnail, as he does. You're just kind of with him now. Like, so there's extra things we just don't need. And your head covers the cars, which is, those are, I would argue, even more important because they tell the rest of the story of each image. So yes, exactly. The face is taking too much focus. I feel like we've kind of made the point here, but this is definitely, I think this creator is doing their best to try to brand their thumbnails with their image. And sometimes you can use your image, but if you look at a lot of different big channels, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's okay to not always put it there. It doesn't, almost regardless of size. Yes, some people might not know who you are. Maybe that has an impact, but ultimately, what sells the content the best? That's what we're trying to do. There are people who get to see your face throughout the entire video if you want them to. So they'll eventually know who you are. You don't have to put in the thumbnail if it's going to distract from the story the thumbnail's trying to tell.
Yep. That's that took me a while to understand too. Like when I first started, I thought for sure I had to be in it because otherwise how will people know it's mine? It took me a long time to realize that, dude, you have to give them a chance first to get used to you. Like you're not there yet. It's and I'm still not. It took me a long time to learn that. And people are more interested in things they can recognize, things they recognize, I guess.
Let's give the video a little credit. This is their best video, at least that we can see.
Ooh, yeah.
There's only 6 videos. So yeah, this is, or 8 or whatever it is. So this is going to be advice where they're like, but wait a minute, guys, this is my best video. This is why we have test and compare. Maybe this video could be viral. Like if we just have the right thumbnail on it. Please test and compare it. Please.
I totally agree. Seriously, that title is beyond good. Like
it's really good.
That title really gets me for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna move over to gaming, and I also selected one of those as the very first submission, and this is MC Ivan, and the title.
I think they've been around. I remember this name.
how to use the flashback mod in-depth tutorial. Okay, so do you know what the flashback mod is? Is it like you use it to film in Minecraft?
I've never used it, but yeah, based on very little context, I think what it is if you could basically place a camera in Minecraft itself and it'll take video for you. And this could be used probably for like maybe third person builds, stuff like that. So you're playing the game, excuse me, and you are seeing everything from a first person perspective, but you're trying to get shots that show you building it from like a third person perspective. I think that's kind of what this does. So yeah, I know of mods like that, and I think this is probably just one of them.
Okay. All right. So if that's the case, then first of all, I think your thumbnail really does convey the idea. I think, especially with the UI, like this is a tutorial. It's for the flashback mod. This is what the UI looks like. People will recognize that, especially if they're just trying to learn it. I think as far as convey the idea, you nailed it. I really think that this was great. My only concern on this is really like it could be simplified just a tiny bit, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to do right now in Photoshop. So just to kind of like whip up what I would kind of like to see. As soon as I saw the UI, I started thinking like Reaper, which is like a DAW you use to record music. And I believe I did a thumbnail like that, but I removed so many of the settings and so many of like the imagery in the UI just to keep it like simple. This is what a track looks like, so people recognize that sort of thing. One sec.
Looks good, but the big camera is a bit too big. Yeah, it's pretty big. Someone else said remove the full tutorial. You don't really need full tutorial in there. I think that's pretty clear based on, I'm sure, the title, which I forgot what it was now, but it just feels like the whole point of the video is to teach you how to use this, so it might be a little redundant. How to use the flashback mod in-depth tutorial. So you got it covered with the title. You don't need that in there.
Yep, you could. All right, so what we just said here, I have to cut off the bottom a little bit to make the camera fit. It's okay. You know what? I'm just gonna squeeze the camera down so you get the idea.
We're not supposed to see this.
It looks terrible. Okay. Oh man. All right. So this is kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, I see your point. You're saying remove the sidebar basically, get the timeline in there.
Yeah, something along these lines. If you made the camera smaller, then it would fit. If you needed it, I guess you could. If that's like the icon of the mod, that would make sense to me because it's recognizable. I assume these are cameras that are in Minecraft. So yeah, that's kind of what I would do. Your background is almost competing with what's going on in the foreground. So if you could blur it, that's probably all that extra stuff on bottom and side necessary. Well, yeah. So I think at least a little bit of the UI is necessary for a tutorial.
Yeah, if they're showing how to actually like use a UI like that, it could help convey the legitimate like premise of the whole video. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and if they're not, then definitely don't. Basically, if it's just like it's in Minecraft and they're showing how to do it like through the gameplay, then don't include it.
If that's just your editing software and it's there as a gimmick to try to really drive the point home, I don't think you have to do that. Yeah, people who are searching for this flashback mod already kind of know what it does, so you wouldn't need to over explain like it makes videos. But this is probably some UI that goes with it, or maybe it is an editing software I've just never seen before.
Well, I saw on the side I saw a camera shake, I saw a sway. Yeah, it looks like it's camera roll. This is stuff that controls cameras, so I assume it's a part of it. So yeah, that's just stuff that I would see in Blender. That's how I would know. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, simplify it a little bit, and I think you're golden.
Yeah, there's 1,000 things you could do too. That suggestion was just up. Makes me think you could have your character, and then the camera, and have an arrow pointing me, and then arrow pointing camera, and that's just going to get people thinking like, oh, that's the camera that works in the game. If I'm right, I'm hoping it's the third-person camera thing that I was thinking of.
It definitely is. Now
yeah.
that I'm
there you go.
Yeah. So if you you would have to add the camera because actually you're looking through the camera, I believe, at this point. But if you just added the camera, yeah, that would be really cool. Of course, you might want to zoom in or whatever. But yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea to go for.
A solid evergreen video, I would say. Mod tutorials like that can do pretty well, like over a long period of time, especially if you did a good job. So yeah, nice.
All right, get a little bit of music while we roll over to the non-gaming. Basically, we're just gonna click 118 using Dan's pretty solid extension there. From the Pallet Shed is the channel name.
As advertised.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, it looks like we've got a bit of a Canva template going on. I think I've had to say this in my latest live streams. This little circle pattern that you see, don't use it. A lot of people are using it, and it's just one of those things, like when people see it, they're like, oh, they're beginners, I'm not going to watch that. It just kind of gives that impression of that there's not a whole lot of effort put in, even if the video is really good. So if you got something about scrap wood, I would probably think about that imagery instead. The white bucket. Guess
upcycling IKEA plant pots with pallet wood. We're over explaining everything with the thumbnail. I get where they're coming from. But yeah, like when they had it next to their hand, it's this tiny little thing. The thumbnail makes it seem like a massive plant pot. Now that I know it's a plant pot, the title really, I needed the title to understand the thumbnail. Adding scrap wood is the payoff, in my opinion. Like when I click on your video and you're talking about upcycling IKEA plant pots, I'm thinking, oh, I have some of those. How do I do that? And your thumbnail's like, add some scrap wood. If I don't have any scrap wood and I find that to be a challenge, I may not click on the video because I'm just like, oh, that's probably not for me. But you might explain where I can get scrap wood. You might explain that a lot of IKEA stuff, you could old IKEA furniture is super flimsy and you can rip it apart and use the scrap wood from that. Like you might have all kinds of explanations for me or other ideas. And I am like potentially not clicking on a video that could have actually been something I could have used because you decided to make the text, let's add some scrap wood. Like you've boxed in what the full potential of this video in the title and thumbnail. And I'm not saying you should lie or trick anybody or anything like that, but I just feel like you over explained it. And now whatever is said in this video, I'm already going in with like a preconceived notion, and it's enough to where I may never click it. You know, that's my biggest fear. And we could talk about how the plant pot just looks like a white thing on the thumbnail. We could talk about the circles in the background. We could talk about the font, all that stuff. But like where I am drawing the line is like this thumbnail over explained the video. You should that finished product, like that is the subject, right? Like you could have done it before and after or something with the empty plant pot. But that to me is this is a better thumbnail than what we have currently.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. A before and after would be super cool, and all you got to do is whip out your phone and take a picture of the before, and wait, there's like a little before and after here. Yeah, so if you had a picture of this little guy here, and
this person, what a craftsman. I mean, this is like very impressive work.
This right here is immediate. Like I want this result, and I would click it if it was on the thumbnail.
Yes.
So yeah, dude, you have so many good thumbnails inside this video. All you got to do is just take a screen cap from one of them and use it. Yeah. If you don't have like any graphic design skills or anything like that, seriously, this kind of stuff is working because it's authentic. Just this right here is so authentic.
Crop in a little bit on that, and then maybe spruce up the image a little bit with just some saturation and stuff. I mean, I did this. I had a thumbnail where it was a screen cap of a game, and then I had two more thumbnails that were heavily produced, and I had text on them and all kinds of stuff. Guess which one won out in the ABC test? It was a screen cap of the game. All I did is I took a still image from the video and I just buffed it up a little bit with some extra contrast and saturation. That's it. I didn't use any sharpening or any fancy tools. Contrast, saturation, boom. That's thumbnail C. You know, and I put way more work into the other two. Thumbnail C1. So if you did this, you grab this screen cap, zoom in a little bit. So we don't need to see the ceiling or anything like that. Zoom in just, John's going to do it for you. Crank up a couple settings. I mean, you can, you know.
Yeah, if it could use a little bit of sharpening, like if you're using this quality exactly. By the way, I'm just like doing a quick thing in Photoshop to show you. You don't have to learn Photoshop to do this. A lot of programs are able to do this. But then I would find a way to like boost the green, maybe a little bit from that. That's right. Hold on one sec. That is so weird. Yeah, I would boost the green a little bit and then maybe toss the orange up. But yeah, I would do something like that.
If you want to go to the extreme, you could use the AI tool, get their eyes, and then make them big and point them at the lens. It would look creepy. But no, I'm just like, I think the only problem is they're not looking at the camera in that one shot, but that's okay. Like, I still think that this thumbnail, it definitely works with the title that you already have. And it shows off your incredible skills.
Yep. I mean, you absolutely know you're getting what you clicked for if this is the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Versus a lack of trust when you take a look at the other one. One last thing is you could just blur that background a tiny bit to really make you pop.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I forget sometimes how zoomed out I am, but if you blurred it just a little bit, something like that, and of course, if the background had less color, it would do something like that. I mean, that's kind of over editing, but you get the idea. Hopefully, like this is where it's at. This is the project that you want to show people, so show them. Yeah, very, very cool. You had a lot of different angles in here too. Like this DIY angle, I would try to A/B one of those if you had like a top down. Like it's just so cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. All right, let's hop into gaming, yeah, because that wasn't a game. Number 5, going low. Captain Meatball. Got a little fan in here. It's getting a little warm. Okay. So.
Oh, look at that. This is kind of an outlier for them. Testing a couple different thumbnails.
All right. Ah, we've done this one before.
Oh, really?
I remember we took a look at this, and I remember we had a lot to say, but the text was like really kind of lost behind the thing, whatever the thing is. And yeah, so we gave some tips, and it kind of looks like, yeah, that's a huge improvement in my opinion, because you're actually like showing the situation. It's a game, clearly a game.
So with our tool, if you go back to like the YouTube player, with our tool, you can see where they made the change, and you can see what the changes are. It's a bit hard to read the size, but yeah, like. A couple days, is that 2 days later after it was uploaded, or?
Yeah, 2 days later.
2 days after published, okay. And then yeah, you can kind of see the changes they've been making, and it looks like the video was already performing compared to their normal rate. Like it's already performing really well. So yeah, this is really encouraging.
Yeah. So if there's something to improve about this. Okay, so this is something that we don't talk a whole lot about, but because a lot of people use YouTube in dark mode, I don't know if you'd want to like brighten up this background a little bit to make it obvious that this isn't like a hallway environment that they're in, because I didn't even notice it at first. It kind of looked like two characters popping out. So I don't know if that's something to experiment with, but this is pretty cool. I mean, sometimes Cry of Fear. Okay, let's take a look at that niche real quick, because I don't really remember. I'm sure we looked at it last time, but I don't really remember. Okay, so what's working in this niche? Okay, this says the best free game. So, oh, that's Pyrocynical. That's pretty. Man, this one is like there's like they're not doing anything consistently. Everyone is different.
Yeah, everyone's doing something different. All endings. That's kind of interesting. So it's a game with multiple endings. Okay, something to strive for.
All endings, all bosses. This one is free on Steam. Before, after. Gameplay walkthrough. Okay, so at this point, I mean, I think really it's just the obvious value that their videos offer now is that's really what people are clicking for. They get something out of it. So you learn about all the endings, or you learn about all the bosses. The ones that really pop out are, hey, this is a free game. So your packaging together is Danger Everywhere, Cry of Fear. And I'm not sure if it's just a Let's Play, then maybe that's kind of why that, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it feels a little vague. I think zooming out a bit to just some general advice. You were competing with some of the biggest gaming channels out there, as we saw, and those channels have built up over a long period of time subscribers for days. Like they can have a title that's just like Cry of Fear Part 1. Unfortunately, when you're kind of growing, you need to do a little bit more. And so when I see Danger Everywhere, I'm like, okay, so it's like kind of the whole point of the game, right? It's a horror game. You're going to run into a lot of dangerous stuff. What are you doing specifically with your playthrough? So we saw people finding all the bosses. We saw people finding all the endings. And you, just because someone else did that doesn't mean you can't. But what else can you do? Is there another way you can play the game that someone might not have thought of before? Like you're going to play blindfolded or something. I don't know. Probably wouldn't be a very good. But I'm just, off the top of my head, like these are things that help separate you from the rest of the crowd when you're in like a crowded space. So that's what this video I think needs the most. I think the thumbnails are decent. I think the title is promising, kind of from what the still images we're seeing here, what we can expect, which is, hey, someone's playing Cry of Fear. So how are you playing it differently than everybody else, right?
Right. It can even come down to a moment. Like, here's just an example, right? If you saw text up here and it was pointing to this guy, this Hellraiser guy, and it said, did he just sneeze? Right? And in your video, you heard him do something and you said, did he just sneeze? Like, that's kind of this funny thing where people are like, well, did he sneeze? And that's like, okay, there's that bit of curiosity that people have to click to find out. So obviously that's just an example, unless that happened and I'm just psychic. But you kind of look through your video and see what is the most epic or funny or just the highlight moment that you could kind of craft a curiosity-based statement out of. A question, statement, doesn't matter. Alternatively, you play to the end of chapter 1, and maybe that's the thing that you do differently, or that's the way you package it, is like chapter 1,
or full playthrough. Like wait until you have every single part of your Let's Play done and upload that as one giant video. That could be your unique selling proposition, is that you're like, oh, if you watch this video, you're gonna get the full experience.
That will kill. And I'm like looking through and I don't see a whole lot of full playthroughs. I see walkthroughs, but yeah. So if you did all of them, throw them all together and do that. Yeah, Markiplier has a playlist. That's the only one I'm seeing the full playthrough on.
You know, YouTube is way better at holding your place in a video than a playlist. I'm just saying. That's been a problem for a long time.
No doubt. Okay. Let's go back to non-gaming. Number 85. MTR Animation. I believe I've heard these people. Seen these people. Matrix nodes, Blender 4.2. Man, I have been so out of the Blender game. So many cool things are happening. I need to download the new one. Okay, so when it comes to these nodes, I'm not sure what the UI actually looks like. If they're anything like the Geo nodes, I know that a lot of people did, here's the GeoNode UI, and here's what the node setup looks like, and then here's the result on the other side. Well, that would be here's that, and then here's the result, and this is what this makes, basically. So I know that has been blowing up for the GeoNodes. I don't know about these Matrix nodes, but I'm going to look it up. Either way, this is a 15 times outlier for you. So I don't know if I would change much if it's working out that well. I mean, it looks like it's not stopping anytime soon. Blender Matrix nodes. I don't even know what they are. And
Matrix nodes is a part of GeoNodes.
Okay. So, dude, you're the number one result. Oh no, okay, you're not, but you're pretty close. It looks like you did exactly what works for matrix nodes. Like, you actually just kind of show the amazing picture and write matrix nodes. I don't have anything to improve about this, for real. This is you knew the assignment. That's not it, is it? There we go. For real, this is incredible. I can only assume that as you adjust a value, the flower grows, and yeah, that's really, really cool. Yeah, I don't. Dan, do you have anything? Because that's bomb to me.
No. Blender's your field of expertise as well. So, yeah, I am thinking that looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, dissecting it from a YouTube standpoint, yeah, I don't know what I would change about that. I know people are going to be searching for more like tutorial, like this right here, where you see the nodes on the left and then you see the result on the right. A lot of those blew up a while ago, so just a dude's head exploding. Good God. Okay, anyway, we are going to move back to gaming. Back to gaming. My cat is meowing at the door.
Oh no.
I can hear him.
John,
one of them.
Mean to cats.
You know what?
Kicking cats out of their domain.
I'm gonna show you guys something here in a second that I built last night. Where is it? Okay, there we go.
Open the door.
All right, so Call of Duty Black Ops 2 multiplayer bot gameplay, no commentary. Oh, all right. What can you? What?
1080p full HD.
Oh, okay.
It's funny to me.
Thought you could hear the cat.
Oh no. I just think that's funny to put on a thumbnail.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Is it like a? I don't have Xbox Live right now, but I plan to play online soon. Okay, I think that there's like something lost in the value that this is supposed to offer. I don't understand.
So yeah, they're playing the game with bots as opposed to real people, and they've just basically uploaded their gameplay. Which
okay.
I think I could talk for a while about how it's probably really hard to compete when you make videos like that. You didn't offer any commentary. You're playing against a computer, so I mean, inherently, it's just I don't sound mean, but it's just not as impressive as the people who are uploading, videos where they get headshots and they're playing with like real people, So there's a lot of that kind of going on, but that kind of advice aside, what we saw with the thumbnail was a lot of clutter and unneeded elements. I would say the thumbnail should represent something impressive. If something impressive happened in this gameplay, like it should be, represented somehow, whether you demonstrate that you got a double kill somehow, like you took one shot and killed 2 bots, or I don't know. I don't know, but just simply saying, hey, it's 1080p. Like the bar has been like raised quite a bit when it comes to resolution. Most videos on YouTube that I watch these days are 1080p. Even if it was 4K, I wouldn't say you need the 4K icon, you know. It's
Right.
just, I think this is like a struggle of like, I need to make a custom thumbnail. And so you just kind of threw whatever you could at it. But in this case, it might have been better to go with a simple screen grab instead of adding the logo for the game, some orange text that's hard to read, and the 1080p icon thing, you know, along with the screen, the actual screen grab, which is kind of blurred in a weird way. And it's not, you know, it's not super, you're saying it's a 1080p video, but it's really kind of not easy to see what's going on in the screenshot. Like,
right.
I don't know. I think back to the drawing board on this one for me.
Yep. So yeah, now that I understand what's going on, they didn't have live, so they did a video with bots. It makes sense. I remember doing that myself, not making videos, but playing with the bots. So yeah, like the last one, I would just kind of focus on a specific moment that you thought was really, really cool that you could feature in the thumbnail. If you could add text or point at that moment or something like that, you won't believe what this bot did. That sort of vibe. That could help this out. But as far as the idea, that's probably like you said, go back to the drawing board. Okay, yeah. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. I'm excited to see what you do next, man. Let's roll back to non-gaming. Number 60. All right. I guess I hit the end of my playlist. That's never happened before. I've always ended up restarting it somewhere. There we go. All right, so the Sonic movie 3 trailer was perfect. This is Khaled, Ketata. Wow.
So
Okay.
I'd say this is a nice thumbnail. Good use of a reaction face, like in a thumbnail.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how I would like the quality is really, really good, and I like the fact that he sort of matched the color.
Oh yeah,
with him. So yeah, this is really, really cool. You didn't overcomplicate it. You didn't throw in stuff that didn't need to be there. It's you reacting. There's Shadow. I believe that's Shadow. Yeah. I don't know what to say besides that it's good. I don't know if this doesn't perform, maybe it's just the topic itself. I really think that that this is exactly what it needs to be. A trailer, Sonic trailer reaction. Yeah. I'm just curious, like what they do. Oh Lord, that's a lot of stuff, man. This happens sometimes where I'm just like, I would never do that, and it ends up getting millions of views.
I mean, look at their channel sizes, though. Are these numbers relative to their subscriber size? Like, are those the numbers they should be getting? I don't know. It's kind of curious.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I really like his thumbnail better than all these.
What if you scroll up a little bit? Right there. How many subscribers do they have? So 45K views, 362,000. Okay. I was gonna say, like, if there were more views than subscribers, I would be stopping on that one. But okay, cool. That one's very similar to me.
Right.
In terms of what they're going for. This is a competition thing, right? Like, it's just going to be difficult to compete here. You should make the video, like if this is what your channel's about, where you react to trailers and things like this, or it's about Sonic movies, like you should be doing this type of video, absolutely. But yeah, it's the biggest channels that are reacting to things. It's like, okay, how do you stand out amongst them? And it comes down to topic. I think their thumbnail was great, their title was great. It comes down to the topic itself and how you're approaching it. So you're saying it was perfect. If everyone typically agrees with you, what are they going to do? They're going to scroll by the video and go, yeah. They may not click on it, you know?
Dude
Or
probably
if
thinks
you-
what I think.
If you said something a little more vague, like the new Sonic trailer was unbelievable, it's a little more like, okay, unbelievable could go either way. Or you could even find some other words that could go either way. Adds a bit more intrigue. Sometimes some people just said reaction. You know, so yeah, it's just this is like the struggle of a YouTuber, right? It's just
Right.
making videos where you know, you can't deviate too far from the subject matter before it's a completely different video, and a lot of people are covering it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the thumbnail goes, I think it's great. Yeah, it really comes down to the packaging itself. Just differentiating yourself from the rest, doing something, the spiky point of view, I guess is what they call it. But yeah,
You could also think about ideas like things you missed. You know, like when a trailer comes out and you're watching like a lot of different people cover it and stuff, they might be giving their surface level reaction, and you could say, well, I'm going to watch it 10 times. I'm going to try and find something new every time, and that could be a whole video there.
This guy definitely knows what he's doing thumbnail wise. It's very he does some that are really, really simple, and his newest one just seemed to 6 days ago just blew up.
Yeah, this is interesting because they're kind of covering more like YouTube drama kind of stuff. It's interesting to see them kind of like pivot really hard, I would say, over to reacting to a movie trailer.
Yeah, it seems that that might be the problem. Is there's just like it's a crazy pivot from like people. I feel bad for Ryan's World, and people are watching you for that, and you know, 5 days later you talk about Sonic, and the people that get recommended that video, they're probably not so interested in Sonic. So that's probably why maybe the low views, but it's not really that low for your channel. It's yeah, it's just something to consider, really. As far as your thumbnail goes, though, you know what you're doing, so I think it's pretty solid. Okay, we're gonna do questions coming up. So all you gotta do is type #question.
You have to put that in there too. That has to be #question. Wow, 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 and then you can ask a question.
Yep, that's it. I think I actually. Yeah, that's right. I did. I did make one for that. So yeah, I haven't used that in so long.
Now we're gonna get sued, but all right.
Yeah. Who owns Law and Order now? I really want.
Let's not find out.
So yeah, we're gonna do some questions, and they'll just pop up on the screen from our AI assistant Claudia. She'll make it happen. Question: there are people that flash a picture in a short and put it as a thumbnail, so people will click. Is this a real strategy? Yes, it is. I actually wanted to talk about this today. A lot of people have asked me, is it important to make thumbnails for your shorts? And I used to say no. I was kind of bleh about it. But now, when I open YouTube, because I've been watching a couple shorts, the very first thing that pops up on my YouTube app are 4 shorts. And they're not autoplay. I'm seeing the thumbnails that they set, right? Well, the first one autoplays. But these are the thumbnails that they set if they specified a thumbnail. So for shorts viewers, when they first open the app, if yours gets submitted, or if yours gets shown, then yeah, your thumbnail is kind of important at that point. So it's just something to consider. But basically, the way that you do it is just the very first frame of your video, you edit it to be your thumbnail. And then when you upload it from your phone, you click on it. It's like the very last screen. You click on your picture, and then you can select that very first frame. That becomes the thumbnail. So I think it's pretty effective. Now, I've seen a lot of custom thumbnails that got me interested.
I'd say especially if you're doing search-based shorts. But
yeah.
to win the lottery of having your short get recommended in that little window, if you're like, oh, I don't want to make thumbnails for shorts, I wouldn't say you should go out of your way. But if you've been wanting to, there is some benefit there depending on where it gets recommended.
Yep, for sure. For sure. Your channel's helped me a lot on YouTube, almost at 10K subs. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jose.
Congrats. Yeah.
Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Or thank you.
You're not even gonna take a stab?
Coinfish Gaming, 15 months of pretending I'm good at this. Join the club. Question: how much time should I spend making thumbnails? How much is too much? It's kind of up to you. I've learned some pretty harsh lessons about that, where I'll put a couple days into a thumbnail. Let's say 30 hours have gone into a thumbnail, and and those thumbnails never perform, because the reason I spent so much time was exploring the different ideas and doing this and doing that, when really I should have been focused on clarity of the message, of the concept of the video. And had I focused on that first, I could make a simple thumbnail, just a couple elements. Here's a face, here's a YouTube logo, here's a view counter going up. And those are the thumbnails that perform, the ones that people quickly understand. So I've learned that if I spend any more than like 4 hours on a thumbnail, it's a waste of time. But that's me.
Yeah, I think it depends, honestly.
Yeah, and if you're in like a huge channel and you're doing photo shoots and stuff, then like it's just a different altogether vibe. Question. Oh, by the way, I spend a lot of time experimenting too, just trying different things, and that's not work for me. That's just me having fun. So, yeah, if that's what you're considering, then enjoy it, you know? Question: if you decide to do a thumbnail A/B test, will YouTube algorithm push out your video the same amount as when you originally? No, it won't. It won't. You'll like YouTube does trickle in impressions, and when you change your packaging, it doesn't necessarily do another push. It's just that the impressions you get from then on have a different impression of what that video is, and that's when you see it tick up and it starts to perform better. It's because your packaging matched it more, and once people started clicking it, YouTube's like, oh, let me give it more impressions, and that's sort of how it works.
This is one downside to testing thumbnails, is even when your video is fresh, if you're testing 2 or 3 thumbnails, you are, I mean, that does mean that maybe like 2 out of your 3 thumbnails are not as good as the best one. You just don't know which one the best one is yet. So YouTube's pushing your video out, kind of, we hope and assume equally with these 3 different thumbnails. And it's going to take some time to gather the data. But what should happen is once the best thumbnail is picked and it settles on that one, the video should start trending upwards a little bit more than it was before. So I do feel like your impressions are not lost forever. If you post a video, change the thumbnails, make changes, stuff like that, it's people were given your video, they didn't like it, they didn't click on it. It doesn't mean they'll never get it again. And then once they get the version of it with the best thumbnail, they might go, oh. So it kind of could slow down the progression of a video's like trajectory. But yeah, I'm a believer that it doesn't, you know, the impressions are not going to, you're not going to get awarded more for using the tool. It's not going to retest the video just because you change the thumbnail. It's kind of up to you to kind of hope that the impressions the video is getting at this day and age when you change the thumbnail are enough to kind of kickstart it back once you nail it. That makes sense. I over-explained that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I really agree. It makes me ask the question, like, if I know a thumbnail is good, if it's solid, should I just upload the one and like not waste time doing the others?
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, this one's solid, I know it's gonna work, and yeah, sometimes it's just like, don't use the tool. Take advantage of all the impressions on the one and see how it does.
Cool. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, let's get some more questions. Is the rule of thirds thing a mandatory like eye catcher? Because I did have difficulty doing that method sometimes. Oh man, the rule of thirds. Okay, I have a tough time with this one because some people call the rule of thirds doing things in threes, but I'm assuming you mean separating the project into thirds. Let me show you what I mean. So, just get rid of that guy. No. Okay. So the rule of thirds is this. Basically, you have your middle lines. Those aren't the thirds. But the thirds are this one, this one, this one, and this one. And basically, the rule of thirds states that when you have an element, it's beneficial to put your element in the thirds area, or something like that. So maybe you got a face there, and then you've got text up here, or whatever. And the rule of thirds really kind of works for video. As far as thumbnails, I think what you should focus on more is just clean composition. That's like the rule of thirds. I don't really pay attention to it a whole lot. As long as there's room for everything and it's easily understood, that is what I focus on more. Because when people throw something in the center, like, the rule of thirds doesn't make so much sense. It's just like, I don't know. I don't think it's as important to focus on as just making a clean concept. So no, it's not mandatory. If you wanted to and you had like a giant head right here, and yeah, like he had like crazy crossed eyes or whatever, it's not going to apply to the rule of thirds, and it still catches people's eyes. So that's what I think about that.
What was that?
I was just talking about the rule of thirds.
Oh.
When it comes to highlighting subjects to be the focus of your thumbnail, would it be good to highlight them, outline them with a vibrant enough color? I think that this depends on the background. You don't necessarily need to. Adding a black outline can make things a little more cartoonish. Adding a white outline can make things pop. But it really depends on the background. You'll see it sometimes, and sometimes you won't. So it's good sometimes. I guess that's all I'm saying. Just experiment and see, like, give yourself a minute, like walk away and then come back and look at it. And if it's annoying you and if you think it'll pop without it, then do without it. Are thumbnail trends changing away from the cutout cartoony style to a more natural style? What do you think, Dan?
It feels that way. I mean, I'm trying to be careful about saying things that sound definitive. Like, in my head, I know nothing about YouTube is definitive. But sometimes you say things on the internet and then people are like, oh, I guess that's the trend, you know, because the vidIQ people said it. Just everything, just like grain of salt. But like, I think that we are moving in that direction for certain types of content. Earlier, I told an anecdote about how I tried a screen grab thumbnail and it worked better than the overproduced thumbnails I did. There's definitely, it does feel that way, and it might be because we went through a really long period of time where people were going the other way and saying, like, you need really stellar thumbnails. They should look like movie posters. They should really, like, you know, blah 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 blah. And so that was the trend, and it's like this tug of war. What's going to stand out? It's the stuff that looks different, you know. And so now the more authentic looking thumbnails that don't have a ton of editing look different than some of the other stuff YouTube is regularly recommending.
Absolutely.
So is that the reason? But who knows? It depends on what you watch. Like, maybe you only watch people who never make high production value thumbnails, and then one day a creator you follow does, you know, so your recommended feed always looks like guy staring at camera in regular room, and then one day someone's like explosions and, you know, yellow Lamborghini and all this stuff, and you're like, whoa, this looks completely different than anything else in my feed. So it kind of depends on the individual viewers too, and what YouTube is recommending to them based on their watch history. So yes, I think the trend is going that way, but huge grain of salt. Like, it's impossible to really nail this stuff down, at least with the limited data set that I have.
Yeah, for sure. Like, people, when you think contrast, you got to think about it in two different ways. One is the contrast that's on your image. For example, gray in the background and then yellow popping off, just like it sticks out to you. But then it's the contrast of YouTube's UI context, the contrast of the UI. So basically, if everybody has white thumbnails and you have the one green one, who's going to stick out? So it's I don't know. I feel like people are relating a lot more to authenticity. And when they see a picture of something real, they know that they're going to get what they clicked for.
Yeah. So
I think that's an uptick. But if everybody starts doing that, and then you see and you see a Dan's head floating in a sea of money and YouTube logos, then that one's probably going to stick out more when everybody's sitting in the forest.
I'll give you an example. Like, if Ryan Trahan, he's probably done this too. Maybe that's why the name's popped up in my head. But if Ryan Trahan were to do a video on his main channel where it was just him sitting at his desk staring at the camera, your immediate thought, regardless of what the title says, would probably be, what's going on? Like, you would probably think he's quitting YouTube, you know, like
Right.
it's like certain settings just have a vibe. And yeah, I know it's getting away from the initial question of like what's trending, but yeah, there's like that artistry of like using images to kind of like evoke some kind of emotion. And I think if you're used to seeing somebody who does big flashy thumbnails and one day they don't, suddenly it feels like this is a way different video than normal. Now you're just clicking on it because something's going on. And you have to know what the heck, you know.
Right.
There's just like so much nuance to the conversation, I think. But it does ultimately, yes, I do feel like across YouTube we're seeing more of a push for like, I just want to watch someone doing their thing, you know, like the old days. Everything became really highly produced. Now it's just ebb and flow.
Right. No doubt. Should I always make a thumbnail? Sometimes I just pick one from the auto-generated and they don't do well, but it could also be the topic. It could be. I would always recommend making a thumbnail. The auto-generated ones are, man, it's pretty rare for YouTube to nail it and pick a good one.
Yeah.
If anything, you go through your video and you pick one. If you don't have the skills necessary to make a good graphic design or whatever, yeah, then you pick one. Pick one that you think really, really sticks out and represents the video well. And yeah, that would take just a tiny bit more time, maybe 20 seconds. Is making a live stream thumbnail necessary or leave it how it is? What happens when you leave it how it is?
I'm noticing there's live streams popping up now when they're live. It's kind of like Twitch, where whatever was on the screen at a certain point, like that seems to be what the thumbnail becomes. And I've never tested that myself, but I'm noticing more and more live streams where the thumbnail changes throughout the day because they didn't make a thumbnail. I think that's how that works. I say thumbnail live streams are important, depending on your goals. If you're just going to go live and you're only catering to the people who are there in that moment and you do not care if people watch after, you got to think about it too much. But if you are doing like what we did yesterday, where we changed the entire format of the live stream and we made a very specific title and thumbnail and the live stream focused on a very specific topic, there's a reason we did that. And it's because we want people to watch after. We're shifting our goal now and trying to see what would happen if we make this thumbnail and title more specific. Could we get more views after it's no longer live? And so that's kind of the strategy, but it's a strategy. You don't have to do it that way. You can kind of do things depending on what your goals are. But yeah, I am an advocate for making sure your live streams have good titles and good thumbnails. But I understand sometimes people just they love the simplicity of a live stream. They like just going live. They don't want to spend a bunch of time making a thumbnail and all that stuff.
Yep. Why do you do gaming and non-gaming separate? Is there different rules? No. Okay, we do that because we get an overabundant amount of gaming thumbnails, and it doesn't give everybody a chance to get value. It only gives gaming channels that opportunity to get value.
I think that everyone could get value, but I do feel like it could be a lot of repeated advice too. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, it's literally like there's all these channels and then gaming channels. It kind of lumped them into one category because it is disproportionate.
Yeah. Also, typically when it comes to gaming channels, we'll get the same 3 games, and it's usually like Fortnite, Roblox, and whatever Minecraft. That other one is.
Whatever Minecraft. That other one.
Yeah, it's just it's usually like the same games over and over and over. So yeah, we might just find that. We might just find that out here in a second. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is a little something some of you might be used to. It is the 2-second test, and basically what we do is we put up a thumbnail for 2 seconds, and then you guess what that video is about. Okay? Are you guys ready? Are you? Are you?
He's gonna wait until you.
All right. Are you? All right, let's get some of those guesses.
I think I know. Not Roblox.
Not Roblox. Call of Duty.
Okay.
Rust. FPS game. Yeah, I would say so. I'm seeing a lot of Call of Duty. Call of Duty. There's a little bit of fishing in there.
What about Call of Duty? What do you think the title of that video is? Maybe like that's the way I want to approach this. What do you think a title for that video would be that would make sense based on the thumbnail you saw? Because just COD is not much of a title. That's a fishing video.
Okay.
Being addicted to Call of Duty.
Yeah. I didn't understand
addicted to this game.
Most kills, Call of Duty. Call of Duty. Duke Nukem.
I can't stop playing this new mode. I'm addicted to this Call of Duty update. I know I'm not clicking on these. Let's see.
Trying to play many hours of Call of Duty. Okay. Well, the person is CooperRyderBros. Okay. And Cooper, I hope this was helpful because it's not even Call of Duty. It's called X Defiant.
Okay. I didn't see anyone guess that.
Right. I can't stop playing X Defiant, the game to rival Call of Duty.
You know what's interesting though is a lot of people were suggesting that it was a video where they couldn't stop playing Call of Duty.
Yeah. It's I'm addicted is the top text there, and sure, can't stop playing it. So I guess first of all, it's a cool thumbnail, right? You have like a highlighted gun and the text sticks out and you blur the background. It's very cool. It's like professionally done. I like it. It's just like what you're conveying, I think might be a little tough because it's just like, okay, you like this game. Why should I watch that? That's just like cool. So if there's something that you've learned from it or something that you have to offer about it, that might be the way to go instead. Even if it's a review, then I would be a little more forward about that. Just one man's opinion. Doesn't mean it's right, but yeah. Okay, let's move on to non-gaming, and I'm gonna get that ready for us here. Oh, yeah, that's not right. So, yeah, it's interesting having to do this with Dan here because
all your screens are messed up.
Yep, I have to full screen me because I'm on OBS, and then I can play the animation, which is the 2-minute or the 2-second testing. Okay, so this person submitted their channel, and that is against the rules. I am sorry. We have to move on.
Oh, we'll never know who that person was that broke the rules.
Rules are thumbnails are submitted by video link, not channel link. No shorts links and no live stream links. It's in the form. Okay. What?
Well, wait a minute.
What?
You're getting us really hyped here.
I don't know what. Okay. All right. All right. You guys ready? Here we go. I don't know what that was.
What was the title of that video?
Okay. All right. Now I kind of understand. I don't. Okay. Anime Will Smith. Anime slap. Slap of the Mohawk. All right. Yeah. Dragon slap. Anime violence. Replacing my hair plugs with plant seeds.
What? I'm sorry. What?
What? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Let's just roll over here. I didn't understand it at first, and it's because I don't watch JoJo. But it's Will Smith slaps Chris Rock, but it's a JoJo reference. And hey, yeah, somebody got it right there. But I guess they made a JoJo meme. Which is
to be continued. It's a 20-second video, and it says to be continued. Is that part of the meme, or is there? Sorry, I don't watch this either. I don't know.
I can assume the audio has something to do with it.
Yeah, it must. Yeah.
Underrated. Somebody liked it, so
Okay. All right.
714 views for
That's
an
the hook?
unlisted video.
Okay, so that's from the show. Got it. All right. Well, all right. Good.
Okay.
I'm glad people like it.
Maybe the show always does to be continued, which would be
probably
hilarious.
It's like
so, yeah, now I get it. But man, that's a lot of views for an unlisted video. You must be sharing that a lot.
JoJo was always to be continued. Okay.
Yeah, I have a friend that says JoJo's awesome. So, as a musician myself, they say I should watch it. Okay, we're jumping back to gaming, I guess.
Why isn't it listed? That's a good question. I mean, it's like 2 years old now. Not that should be a reason, but I'm curious as to like why they'd submit that video.
I think that picture is hilarious. That is just so funny to me.
Yeah, but what was the advice they were looking for? I don't know.
I don't know. It worked. I guess the Warudo or whatever. It's so much of an inside joke, but it seems to work for you. I think it's hilarious. I think it's really funny. So yeah, I wish I had more.
Could be copyright. Yeah, it's probably not transformative enough.
Okay, so let's do this one. All right, this one we could probably help a little more than the JoJo one. Okay, here we go. All right.
Title wise, I feel like everyone will have an easy time because of the text on the thumbnail. We'll see how accurate the text on the thumbnail is once we see the title. That's what I'm curious about now.
Okay, let's get some guesses, y'all. VR FIFA. It's in the title. It's in the title.
It's in the thumbnail.
It's in the thumbnail. FIFA World Cup in VR. Yeah. So this, I mean, I think everybody's nailing this. It's pretty obvious. It's like VR soccer. FIFA is in the thumbnail itself. So yeah, I don't think there's a much more we need to guess about it. It's VR FIFA. Now, the title is I Mastered FIFA in Virtual Reality. VRFs.
I don't know what the last bit means, but this look at the views. Look at the views on it. Look at their subscriber count. Like this is an outlier video for them. I love the title. I think the thumbnail explains it. Maybe over explains it like a little bit.
Yeah.
But not in a way that hurt the video, it seems.
Yeah, you know, when I take a look at it, I just I don't know what I was gonna say. I think it could just be a little simpler. I don't know. You probably have yourself in some of these. Oh, okay. No, I think you were just because you're wearing the jersey. It just kind of felt right. So yeah, I mean,
go back to the channel real quick. Let's look at the videos. I'm curious about something.
Got a lot of Gorilla Tag.
A lot of Gorilla Tag. So, as far as I know, and I don't know much, Gorilla Tag is like a social game. Like, there's not like... You can probably master FIFA in VR. I don't think you can master Gorilla Tag. But let me know if I'm wrong about that. I know it's like a multiplayer. I know there's probably tag involved, but I don't know if it's like FIFA. So... when I see this video, it was from 9 days ago, take off, and then your next Gorilla Tag video just doesn't even come close. It tells me that like you are onto something with the previous video, and you've tapped into, I think, what like a lot of gaming channels are delivering right now, which is like, I'm not just going to play a game. I'm going to do something specific in this video. Like I'm going to show you a skill that I developed while playing the game. I'm going to 100% the game, speedrun the game, master the game. Can you do more of that now? You know, maybe Gorilla Tag is something you do once in a while for your core viewership, but you need to try and find a way to repeat the success. And I don't think you're a FIFA VR channel forever, but I do think that you should be looking at more VR games that take some level of skill that are maybe not like top of mind. When I think VR, I think Beat Saber. Don't play that. You know, I think Gorilla Tag. Don't play that. Like, or you know what I mean? Like, don't try and like do challenges in games. Like, oh, I've definitely heard of like FIFA. I didn't realize there's a VR version, and you're really good at it. This should be pretty interesting. And that video is working really well for you. So, yeah, I would be trying to figure out how to double down on this, and maybe not even by playing FIFA, but playing other games that you could practice at and practice that. You could tell the whole story of how you mastered it rather than waiting till you master it. You could start recording the day you pick up the game for the first time and do like a 30-day challenge where you're trying to get better and better at it. Like a lot of these big channels, they spend 50 hours in VR, for example. Like it's that reminds me of that. I don't know. I'm really happy for this creator that they've figured this out.
Yeah, dude, that was a ton of value you just dropped. Oh man, I hope they go for that. That's there's definitely some promise in there for sure. Comparing their thumbnail to what really works in this niche, which is a very small niche apparently. I can see that they did the mimic idea, right? They circled the foot. That could be a little more prevalent and a little closer. The arrow, it does stick out. I would probably just do a different arrow personally. Let's not get stuck on arrows. We're about to talk about that here in a second. This little icon, I think, could probably leave. The FIFA in VR
doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, for real.
FIFA VR is fine to me, but it's red. It's hard to read.
If it was the actual FIFA logo, then it would have a little more to offer, I think. But really, I guess I'm just pointing out that some of these, like the press A for free kick, that sort of stuff, if you can cut that stuff out, then it might help you just a little bit. If you could full screen the image, I don't know how you go about taking a screenshot of your gameplay. Maybe it's just like after the fact you're watching the video and that's how you do it, or if you can do it in the game. But yeah, if there's something that you can get a little more perspective, that would help. Otherwise, if you're alternatively, if you're dropping it in like Photoshop, you can extend the edges just a little bit to where you can bring this and the ball just a little here. Let me show you what I mean. So imagine that you'd want this more of the focus, this foot in the ball. That's a little too much, but yeah, so like something like that, right? And you could select over here and you could extend it out or fill it. That's what I would do. I'm not going to take the time to do it. But yeah, so what I'm seeing is there's a lot of clarity in the ones that they do. You're also up there, and like this one was my favorite. It's just like here's my foot, here's the ball, here's VR. So it's just like these are simple elements, 1, 2, 3, and yours just has a lot more going on. Effectively though, like it works for you. I really like that too. Something I wanted to bring up, Dan. Have you ever seen these little things?
Oh, no, that's new. You know what? Maybe they're finally listening to people who complain about search being completely borked. Now they're saying, okay, here's stuff kind of related to what you typed. That's kind of cool.
It's got like the little AI thing, so
at least it's not going right back to like recommendations from the home feed. Like search has been completely useless lately. Sorry,
right?
Like I type something in and you show me 3 results before you try and push me just a completely different direction. Also, I started a fight in the comments. Sorry.
Thoughts on copyright issues using the FIFA logo? Everybody seems to ask about this stuff. Is it like using their logo on a transformative piece of material? Is it?
It's their
like
discretion.
You're not
like I don't know if people are getting in trouble for it. I wouldn't use it. Like it's all Nintendo. Their discretion. Yeah, the copyright holders. You'd be surprised. Like people put Nintendo characters in thumbnails all the time, and if Nintendo wanted to come after them for the thumbnail, I'm sure they could, but they just don't. And I've said this to gaming channels before, and I've gotten some shocked Pikachu faces back. But gaming channels, you are completely at the mercy of folks who own the copyright to the game. If they decide tomorrow, if Microsoft, they won't, but if they decide tomorrow that like, hey, all these Minecraft YouTubers, I'm sick of it, they can pull all of it. They could just go to YouTube and say, hey, I am now not allowing my game to show up in this context. I can upload it, but they can't. They don't own the copyright. So that is like the one thing about gaming on YouTube that's like there's other verticals like this as well, but gaming specifically, just because it's such a robust on YouTube, you are completely at the mercy of the copyright holders, and they could end your entire YouTube channel tomorrow with one swipe of the pen. So,
Yep. I mean, using their IP, it's it's not. I mean, if you were Minecraft, would you? It's like that's where most of your money comes from, is these kids playing and recording and sharing. So like the threat isn't quite there, but yeah, they can. If you're
Harley
using their
Davidson
IP.
used to hammer the heck out of people for using the bar and shield. They can copyright strike you anytime.
True. Okay. All right, let's do this next one here. Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Are you ready? I hope you were, because I didn't give you a whole lot of time to decide. All right, what is this about? Let's see some title. Eyes pain.
That's kind of mean.
Eyes pain.
It's really brutal.
Manga review. Boruto. Boruto? Anime character analysis. Coloring Ishiki from Boruto. Is this? Yeah. Man.
Enough people are saying Boruto, so I can't argue with it. I don't have enough knowledge of the subject matter to show it again. I missed it. That's not the point of the game.
Okay, yeah, so everybody is kind of on the same page here, I believe. Math! Okay, so yeah, this is the thumbnail. I am a layman when it comes to anime, but it is Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen? AMV Boruto, Naruto, Next Generations. So
2 years ago, it had a couple of, you can see the graph over there. It had a couple of like moments of success. More could come in the future. I'm wondering, you know what? That's interesting. It's 2 years ago. It's had 2 spikes. I bet if we look at the dates of when these shows are released, we see that they are timed by the release of the new season.
Right. Yeah, I would say so. When it comes to the thumbnail, which is the whole point of this stream, I wanted to bring something up. If you're able to do this, like the reason that maybe somebody said eye pain is just because it's like it's hard to know what to really focus on this. So I'm gonna do like a little rough cutout just to kind of show you what I would do to make your character stand out, and maybe it's something that you can do too, depending on what you use to make your thumbnails. It's like, it is a really cool thumbnail. Like, I like the concept of it because, like, I don't know, it's unique, I think. Anyway.
Part of their face and the collar, I think, have they're not being cut out yet. Oh, there you go. Okay.
I got eyes.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were about to hit the button. I mess that up in Photoshop all the time. Oh yeah, where are we going? This is interesting. Where are we going with this?
And then I would just put him like way in the goal, like way in the back.
See, that should be a stream where you take a bit of a thumbnail from every thumbnail you look at and try and make one coherent thumbnail out of elements from everyone's thumbnails of the day.
Oh man. Okay, so
Just that shadow helps a lot.
Probably an outer glow of some sort to double up on the shadow would really work. Okay, so that's kind of what I would do to make them stick off the page and the page itself. Let me just blur it just a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Football versus soccer poll is almost 50-50.
Okay, so this is kind of what I would do to make it stick off the page a little bit. There's like, it's still so busy in the background. You could really like blur it to make them stick off, I guess. If you wanted to increase the color to really make whatever that neck thing is pop off a little bit, that could make it pop a little more. So that's kind of what I would do, but it does sort of defeat the purpose of what's going on. Oh, it says Jigen or whatever in the background.
I didn't see that until you blurred it, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I didn't notice until it was blurred.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of what I would do. You could even like have the Jigen on this layer where it's more up front, just like as a just little. Watch this, just a little terrible rough idea just to show you what I mean.
That looks bad.
There.
It looked good before, then you did that.
Perfect. All right, so yeah, that's kind of what I would do to help them pop off the page. But I'm assuming that what you have is apropos to your content. Color is going to be your best friend to make them stand out. Yeah, I agree. I think upping that saturation just a little bit helps, just a little bit. Yeah, manga thumbnails are hard. I've seen they're like busy, right? It's tough to show what you want from a comic.
Yeah.
And like I always say, the best way to go about it is just to kind of see what's working for other people and then do your version of that. Which actually, you know what? I'd like to share something real quick because we have something to talk about. So first, I had this idea. When I say see what's working and then kind of make it yours, this is sort of what I'm talking about. So this is like a rough thumbnail that I'm working on for vidIQ, a little behind the scenes. This is not exactly what I'm going to look or what I'm going to use. It was just experimenting with the yellow. And the reason I did that is because I saw this thumbnail that really, really stuck out to me, and it is like not related to YouTube at all. But it was a million view video or at least a couple 100,000, and I thought, this is so cool. I wonder why it stuck out to me. I'm going to try to mimic it. And it was this. It was this little anime guy with like sort of a cloudy background, and you've got your text, and the yellow pops out. I hate the arrow so much. It's just this blurry mess. And so, yeah, I just decided that I was going to try something like that. I used like low saturation on myself, like without it, there's the regular color or whatever. That's what I look like normally. But yeah, so I thought that was like a really cool idea, and I can make the arrow red or whatever and have it point up. I was just experimenting with it. So a lot of people ask, like, what do you mean copying other people's ideas? Or I never say copy. I just say use what works and make it your own. But a lot of people take that to mean that you're just stealing ideas, and like that's not stealing. It's just taking a composition, a color idea, and then kind of making something your own out of it. So do you think that the person that made this thumbnail is going to come after me and say, you stole my thumbnail?
Yes.
Well, too bad, bro.
Place your bets.
Too bad. So yeah, I just I wanted to make that pretty clear. Also, I have this folder, and none of you have seen this folder because it's not the arrow folder. It's a folder of me with just a bunch of me's. And the reason I have it is because we've actually started a contest. And the contest is based around the other folder that many of you know and recognize and love. And that is the arrow folder. And the arrow folder is just my collection of arrows, and I have many of them. And so a lot of you have started calling me the Lord of Arrows. And we started this contest where that's the theme, right? So you can take these images of me and do a meme, a collage, you can draw it, do whatever, and make the Arrow Lord, and we're gonna judge them. And all you got to do is just go to our Discord. It's vidiq.com/Discord, and you can get these images of me and try to keep it semi-appropriate.
I gotta say, arrows are one of the most frustrating parts of thumbnail design for me, because it seems like you do need to have like a lot. If you are making thumbnails with different scenarios and you're just trying to point to something with a stupid arrow, sometimes things are in places where you want an arrow pointing from one spot to the other, and it's just not your friend. And you all make fun of John,
sure.
But I envy the arrow folder. I wish I had as many arrows as John has.
Dude, this arrow, this arrow took me so long to find, and it's not even the full arrow. Like
You
I had
to make your own arrow.
I had to Frankenstein it together because the real version, I'll show you which one it was. It was this one, and this is not exactly what you'd expect. It's just like this double little arrow thing that I selected. But yeah, it's such a pain to get the right one that extends in the right direction, and oftentimes I'll end up having to trim them and cut them or whatever. So
you would think you could just take a paintbrush in Photoshop and draw that, but that's like not always as easy as it sounds. Every time I've drawn an arrow, I'm like, nope. It's What happened here?
I just realized how many arrows I tried out. Look at that.
Oh my god, you should not have done that. You shouldn't have showed people that. That's
I tried a whole lot of different arrows to get the right one.
You weren't kidding.
Well, I mean that just proves your point. It's tough to get the right one.
I understand it, but I mean to anybody seeing that for the first time, like, you know, like, notice too, I think what a lot of you don't appreciate is John pulled up a thumbnail and said, I'm currently working on this one. Like, it's like a painting in an art studio where he like works on it a couple hours a week and comes back to it. Like, some of you are probably spending maybe like an hour on a thumbnail or something, and this guy is like, oh yeah, I'm like in the middle of working on this, you know. So it doesn't look good, but don't look good. Like, that's it. John puts an incredible amount of work into thumbnails. He takes it dead serious.
Oh shucks. Oh shucks. Well,
are we doing with reviews? We're reviewing John right now. It's John's turn to get reviewed.
Yeah, we're doing it. So anyway, that's the arrow thing. I am apparently the Lord of Arrows, as you can see here.
The first of his name.
First, yeah. So if you go to vidIQ.com/Discord, you can jump in the contest and grab whatever photo you want of me and make it arrow themed, and we're gonna judge them. So yeah, that's that. All right, let's jump back into this business. I think we're on gaming because that was Boruto thing last time, right? Why have I watched half of this already?
It's just playing in the background.
No, I must have either you guys checked it out on a channel review or because it's halfway through. Yeah, maybe you'll recognize it. Okay, let's do this thing.
Okay, well,
have you seen that before?
I've not seen that before. I feel like I know what the video's about by looking at it. I feel like I know what the title would be.
Oh, Claudia, you crazy. Every glitch explained. Yes. Roblox obby. Roblox every glitch explained. Yeah, I mean,
which Roblox game?
In which glitch?
It's every glitch. They said that. That's the one thing they told them.
Oh man, see? Not Minecraft. Okay, you nailed it. Okay, so I think everybody kind of caught it. It's Roblox every glitch explained. Okay, so the title is literally all Roblox obby glitches explained. Oh, that was
obby is the game. Wow, someone actually got it from that.
Yeah, I was impressive. Like maybe they meant to type lobby is what I thought, and yeah. So yeah. Anyway, this is a 6.2 times outlier. 88,000 views for this person, and that's only 6 times. What is the rest of your channel like?
Oh, okay. Obby games, like plural. Okay, there's a lot of games that fit this category, I guess. Roblox will never cease to confuse me. Wow, this person's killing it right now.
No kidding.
Look at all the arrows.
Yeah, look at all these arrows. It's, you know what? There's consistency in this arrow. Because it's the same arrow.
It is. Sometimes. There was one that was different.
This downward one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. It's not pointing at anything. Yeah. So, dude, you seem like you know exactly what you're doing. I mean, when it comes to the Roblox gaming space, sometimes I get a little lost in what works because it's a little bit insane. But this... if this looks like a glitch that people are fairly familiar with, that's the word. if this looks like a glitch that people are fairly familiar with, then yeah, that would be my only suggestion, is like make it one that people have happen all the time and that they can recognize, right? Or you can make it one that is so obvious what the glitch is, but it's like so outrageous. So, and that could be what's going on here. I don't play the game.
It's difficult for me to see what is happening with that glitch. I get it's a glitch because you say glitch with the text, but I would need the text in this case because it looks like a wall with a character on a ledge, and I'm like, not
Wall hopping.
Yeah, I'm not. It's wall hopping. Like, I'm just not getting that from this, but that's okay because I'm not the target audience either.
Right. If it's okay, wall hopping, does that mean you are on a wall and the entire wall moves with you? Like, my question is this wall in the air with you? Because if it is, then adding a shadow under it would have helped. Just to know that it's in the air. Because I thought for sure it's like in the background. So, flicking your camera to jump on the black part. Okay.
So probably not wall moving.
Yeah, okay, yeah, then ignore that. But
Still,
yeah, I mean,
88,000
it's
views.
common.
Yeah, like this is one where we look at it, and even if you're like, well, I really need advice for this thumbnail, I'd be like, I don't want to rock the boat on this one. This video is doing fantastic.
No doubt. It's still,
Yeah.
to this day, it's still growing. So,
Yeah. So this is one where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So even if we've said anything where you're like, they're right, maybe I could change. No, just leave it. Don't touch it. Like when a video is doing this well, I don't touch it. I don't do anything.
Yeah, dude.
We need to move the text away from the lower right. You could, or just don't touch it. It's doing well.
Yeah, dude. It seems like you've got a good handle on this. All I can say is just keep doing what you're doing. You're gonna nail it. All right, now let's.
They didn't have an arrow in their latest thumbnail, by the way, so I'm guessing that video is gonna tank. But that's just me. Sorry.
It says negative. It says negative 16 times outlier.
Yep, that's what I thought. You got away from the branding.
You had to go and view other people's videos because you posted that. Okay. I am getting the next one loaded up. This is non-gaming. It is right up my alley. Okay. All right. This one is a little difficult. Let's roll with it.
Oh boy.
Let's get some guesses.
What's the name of the video?
What's the name, y'all? There we go.
That's. What are you applauding?
I don't know. You ask them. All right, shading tutorial.
That's a pretty good guess.
How to shade smooth in Blender. Shading tips and tricks. Yeah, it's a whole lot of shading to blur, not to blur. I like that. Turn drawing into an image.
Interesting.
Bubblegum. So a lot of people were saying 3D model. Okay. Bubblegum simulation. Okay. All right. Let's take a look here. So I am not exactly sure. It does look like some sort of art tutorial type thing. But yeah, everybody said shading. This says mastering digital shading, the ultimate beginner's guide. So I love the thumbnail and how simple it is. It's just I don't know for sure that it's about shading. So maybe a concept revamp could help. But honestly, I don't know. This one is like you kind of got with the packaging, the idea comes across for sure. Because like with the title there, it's fine.
You're just trying to move on so you can secretly steal the arrow they drew in their thumbnail, add it to your collection.
Oh, yeah, that is one nice arrow. So this right here, if you had sort of a UI situation where like you start with this one obviously and it's in the thing that looks the white square, and then this one is also in the white square, then it kind of gives the impression like, oh, this is in a program that this person is doing it. So maybe that would help a little bit for people, like for search base, you know, like if people are searching for this.
Yeah.
I don't know what program this is, and none of the packaging says that. So that's also something you might want to consider handling. I don't see it anywhere. Infinite Painter in this hashtag here. So yeah, you definitely want to make that more obvious in your title, or thumbnail, or both, because when people search it, your video won't pop up.
The video length, to me, this is gonna be a weird criticism. It's not indicative of an ultimate guide. I think when I see ultimate guide, I imagine you're gonna go really in depth. But we got 2 minutes, and I think if I'm trying to learn a skill, I might be more tempted to click on a video that is longer, because I feel like they're going to be a bit more careful about teaching me what they're trying to teach me. So you're pitching the video as an ultimate guide, but it's going to be really difficult in 2 minutes, I think, to teach that. This is coming from someone who can't do what you're doing. Like, if I'm just thinking, what would I need as someone who's never made anything like this? Like, what would I need to actually get this result? And I would need a lot of time and patience. I would need someone to explain a lot of concepts to me, because I don't draw. I can't draw. Like, that's just not a skill I've refined for myself. So that's my critique. The title is maybe like people are seeing it and they don't agree with it. They're like, that can't be an ultimate guide.
Yeah.
But just one thought.
If the title were something like Infinite Painters, shading tutorial for beginners, or beginner tutorial, Infinite Painter shading beginner tutorial would fit just a little bit better as far as the concept goes, and then you could spice that up with sorry, I got lost in one person's comment. Okay, yeah, then you can spice that up with trying to make it get a little more curiosity if you'd like. But this is one of those things that's search based, so people are curious enough when they come across your video. Hopefully that helps a little bit. A lot of things to consider there. We're back to...
I hope someone takes one of your pictures and makes a Game of Thrones style arrow throne for you.
Just a bunch of arrows that were swords instead?
Yeah, the arrow throne.
Man, you're just like opening up... Yeah, you just opened up the floodgates of swords being arrows, I think. Like, I could see me in Star Wars with just arrow lightsabers.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Tried to AI generate it. All right. We are... that was non-gaming, right? We're back to gaming. Let's just...
James ruined my idea. If a lot of you were thinking that, maybe I helped. Maybe you're like, oh, shoot. Everyone was going to do that.
Yeah, now... You got to think way outside the box.
Either who's going to do it the best, or who's going to just come up with something that is super clever no one ever thought of.
What if they have me eating a plate of spaghetti, but all the spaghetti are arrows?
And your fork is an arrow. And
my
you're spitting
eyes...
on an arrow. And your stove in the background is an arrow with a range hood that looks like an arrow.
I like it.
And it all points at you. Somehow.
Okay. Somebody's watched this video too. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Good. I'm glad. Me too.
There's a lot. There's a lot there.
Yeah. All arrow roads point to John.
I don't think it was Mr. Bean Complains at Chick-fil-A, which is a good guess for something. I want to see that video. I just don't think that was that video.
Right. Grand piece, chest stuff. That's God of War. Okay. Too much to know. Roblox Simulator. Little wizard.
What would you rate the thumbnail you saw out of 10? 10 being fantastic, 1 being poo-poo diaper.
You know,
Well, okay. You don't have to actually rate it 1. I was just kidding. It's 1 being, it was very thumbnail.
this person said too much info out of 10. I like that. Okay, all right. Well, let's take a look at it then. See what we can improve. So, yeah, I definitely agree. There is a lot going on here. Okay, let's break it down real quick. This thing, whatever this thing is, this thing, whatever this thing is, whatever this is, whatever this is, this little logo down here, get rid of it, okay? So you just have a versus, you have text up here, you have text down there. That's okay.
I see what you're pointing at without an arrow.
Oh, you're so funny.
Huh.
Okay.
I don't want to rate the thumbnail a 1. I saw a lot of 1s, saw some 8s. It's all over the place. I think they tried. I like the use of colors, and I like the outlines on characters. But I agree with everything you just said. Like pointing at the different things and saying like, scrap all of these things. You probably have a much, much, much better thumbnail.
Yeah, I would say that you probably, once you simplify things, people will click it a lot more.
What is the story? What's going on with your camera? Why did you do that?
I just got to say that this actually did fairly well. It has like 1,000, almost 2,000 views, and it's still picking up. So the topic is like awesome, right? It's just that there's like so much going on in your thumbnail. If you just kind of simplify things a little bit, I think that would really, really help you. I think the topic is great, though. I think people are digging it.
Good luck. I mean, I would definitely test a version of the thumbnail that's simplified.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's move back to... Oh, wait, no. We got to do Q&A. It's Q&A time now. We'll do one more while you guys ask some questions, okay? Okay? I'm changing the banner.
Question, and then womp, and then your question.
Oh, I better... I better change that. Okay. 184. Oh, Claudia forgot. See what happens. See what happens when you...
John didn't pay the subscription fee.
Okay. We're going to test this one out real quick. You guys ready? What do we got? I put my face super close, like, again, but I forgot it always switches back to the original camera. All right, we got pet training. Cutie pie. Wrong. Pet training. Dog training. How to title live streams. I don't think so.
What?
Dog training. Okay, it's a lot of dog training, right? I'm pretty sure it's obvious. Training a dog not using force. Yeah, force-free training. The concept's there. It's pretty clear in my opinion. I think you nailed that. So what is positive reinforcement dog training and where it fails? I think you sort of did everything right here. Maybe the title is a little convoluted in a way, but I would say that this is a tip that we haven't really relied on a whole lot today. But if you just go force-free dog training and check out what's going on there, like what's working for people, and just kind of like make it your own and improve it. These are pretty simple. These are okay. I kind of like yours more though. Wow, these are not these are not good. They're simple, I guess. Man, there's so much text there.
I think the pulling on the leash is a good image though. Like if we're training a dog and showing the dog doing something you wouldn't normally want it to do is not like a bad angle. But yes, that is like a very complex thumbnail right there.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point. Yeah.
All they needed to do was put and that was enough text, I think.
Right. Yeah. If you could get it across more in your image of how you're doing it rather than just putting text there. The text is probably necessary. It probably helps a lot. But if like this dog's barking and he's all angry, like force-free training, angry dog, that's more of a clear picture of what's going on. So yeah, I think that try one of those, at least A/B test that with a different picture of a dog and see what happens. That's what I would do. Okay, let's do some questions. Okay, how often there it goes. How often you guys do these streams? Want to submit my next video? All right, Tuesdays, well, Wednesdays are thumbnail streams every Wednesday. And then Tuesdays, Dan, you take it.
We're trying different things on Tuesdays. We've been looking at channels for a few years now, non-stop every single week on Tuesdays. And now we're trying to change things up a little bit, just see what happens. So I talked about this a little bit earlier. So sometimes channels might pop up for different reasons, but this stream seems to be the one if you want to submit a channel, get your thumbnail reviewed, something like that. Every Wednesday or almost every Wednesday. What are you doing these days?
Every Wednesday. It's just like 2 Wednesdays ago I got sick, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Every Wednesday. Is it okay if my curiosity element in my thumb is from a quirky part of the hook that sets up the rest of the video, but not exactly niche oriented? Quirky part of the hook. You don't. I guess I would have to Oh, this is Pepper Guru. Okay. Dude, I've seen your channel. If it's not about peppers, it might be a little bit difficult for people to know exactly what they're clicking for. It really depends. Send me another message on Discord and let me know what the hook is. Let's talk about it, okay? But from what I saw, remember that pepper focus is where it's at. Next question. What's important?
It's a well-oiled machine.
Oh man, what's the most important thing in the thumbnail according to you two? You go first, Dan.
Me.
Dan, that's mine.
I think it's because I think a simple answer would be like, oh, your face or something like that. But I actually think the most important thing is going to be whatever conveys the clearest message. Like, can you make a thumbnail that almost explains the video without having to even read the title? Or if it's going to be work with the title, like if the title says one thing, can the thumbnail support it in some way? You know, that's the most important thing is a clear message. It's not so much, even if your thumbnail doesn't look super professional, it's more about the clear message that it sends to a potential viewer.
Yep. I'm sticking with Dan though.
Yeah, that too. Yes.
Oh, you guys put Dan in all your thumbnails. Yeah, no, I totally agree with what Dan said. That's exactly what I was going to say about conveying the message. What could you possibly do if your voice was the reason people clicked off your video more than any other reason? If you're getting comments like that...
Yeah, how do you know it's your voice?
Dude, if you haven't gotten a comment or you gotten one comment, then let haters be haters, right? Yeah. Hate is nothing but good news. And I got 3 reasons for that, but we don't have to talk about it right now. Maybe I'll make a video about it. But, yeah, dude, if it's just you feeling like your voice isn't good enough or you think it's weird or whatever, it's a very, very common thing that we all go through. We all do. Like, when I first started, I was a musician and a singer before this, so it wasn't YouTube. But when I first started making music, I was like, man, nobody's going to listen to this. This is awful. And eventually you get used to hearing it so much that you forgot about it and you start focusing on different things like, I hate that my picture's flipped horizontal because that's not the way my hair parts. So,
hey,
what you said.
That's what you said. Me? It was so out of nowhere. They said they get the comment often. I would just pay attention to the. This is again. I'm not trying to say nuh-uh, but pay attention to the names. I've been tripped up by this before where I feel like I'm getting a comment often, but it's actually just the same 1 or 2 trolls that just keep coming back to my videos. So if it's coming a lot of times from different people, they could be referring to your audio quality. There could be so many things, but ultimately, hopefully, we're talking about just haters and not, I don't know, something else. I don't know what else it could be. I feel like it's just rude to comment on someone's voice, something that about themselves they can't change. And you're
right.
I feel like if you're leaving that comment, you have like other things going on. It's not really, you're not being helpful at all, right? So yeah, I'd say the only time it's justified in my opinion is if they're trying to say your audio quality, like your microphone is always clipping and doesn't sound great. Like if it's not constructive and they're just like, you should get off YouTube. Your voice sucks. That's not helpful. Like,
Yeah.
I would block them. You could even you could go into your word filters and take like the string of text they often say, like, I don't like your voice, and make that a word filter so it goes off into spam. You know, you could really like take that to the next level if you really want to. Yeah, blocked words. Someone just said that. So
Absolutely.
yeah. I'm devious when it comes to blocked words, man.
I just love that you can just hide people and they can keep commenting into the ether, but nobody sees their comments and you don't either. It's just like, dude, be miserable by yourself. I'm sorry. Like, you don't have anything going for you, but I'm going to keep making content.
Yeah, that's like some justice to me.
If you have a good thumbnail but doesn't perform too well, does that just come down to topic? Also, can you go over brightness, please? Brightness, how do I do that? Well, okay.
You want the subject in the foreground to be brighter than the background? There's one tip, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. If you look too dark, brighten yourself up. Sorry, that's maybe okay. If you're in the Discord, also just DM me. It's just John Scott. That's my name. And sometimes I get a lot of messages, but I'll remember. Just tell me that it was about the brightness. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that question until I know more details. But if it doesn't perform too well, it depends. It really does, because you might think a thumbnail is good, but it doesn't convey the topic well enough to get the point across. If it might look awesome, but then people click and it's like not really about the awesome thing they clicked. Sometimes it does come down to the topic, though. It just is. I guess the way to figure that out is search for other channels in your niche, and if they're doing nothing like what you're doing, it might be the topic. It might be, but sometimes people just have original ideas, and it works well.
20 memberships from Old Man Gibb.
Hey, thank you so much.
Enjoy your emotes, folks. Very kind.
What type of colors should I use for thumbnails, and should I saturate my thumbnails? How much is too much? Okay, let me just, I'm going to show you. Let me pick one here. All right, so this guy right here, I saturated him up to 31% because it was fairly low, right? Because sorry, my bad.
Where?
This was the original, and I went up to about 31%. And then there's a certain point where the colors just start to bleed, and they look bad, right? See this gray here? It can probably turn like into a green after you saturate it so much. That's too much saturation right there. Okay, so when colors start becoming colors they aren't, that's when you want to stop and back it up a little bit. Like, these are shadows, but they're like blue now. So if you like, the most saturated I would ever do this is probably like right there, and that's pushing it for me. But it doesn't look too bad. So if you're looking at yourself and you're saturating yourself, if your skin starts to become orange or yellow, you've done it. You've gone too far. And then the colors you want to use for your thumbnails, there aren't any specific ones. Like, there's no every color works. In your niche, check out some videos and see what colors they're using. Or even not in your niche, just see what colors really work well together on popular videos. Ryan Trahan really busted out the blue and green for a while, like, and his white t-shirt, but it was always the green grass and blue sky, and like when you came across it, it's like, oh, there's Ryan Trahan. So yeah, that's how can I tell if your niche is, how can you tell if your niche is too small or your thumbnail isn't clickable enough?
It's kind of two separate things. I can see why that question's bundled together. I think to know if your niche is too small, I like to search for as many kind of like common search terms as I can think of for the thing that I'm doing. I'm trying to find channels that are covering the topic I'm covering, and I'm trying to see how big they are to determine the ceiling, right? If you can find the most subscribed to channel in your niche, you could almost peg that as the ceiling for your niche at this time, right? If I remember correctly, Awkward GM, you are more of like a D&D. You do alternate D&D kind of like games on your channel. Tabletop gaming is only getting more popular right now, I think, and it's, you know, I would say is a very broad niche. I would even go so far as to say you could be looking at thumbnail inspiration for channels that do other types of tabletop games that are not D&D, just to kind of see how they're positioning their elements and their thumbnails, things like that. To know if it's not clickable enough, you can look at your click-through rate, things like that. Ask for feedback. Our public Discord can be a great place to, just straight up ask, hey, this is a thumbnail I'm thinking about. This is what the video's about. Like, what do you think? And yeah, sometimes you're going to get some pretty decent thoughts. There's a lot of communities out there that can help you with that too.
Yep, no doubt. Best free program besides Canva for making text for thumbnails. I don't know if one is specifically better than the other.
Can you do that in Paint?
I know that the fonts that come on your phone, if you want to use your phone, they're usually pretty good for thumbnails as long as you choose the bold version of it, I guess. Mine has different fonts with different weights, so I don't know if iPhones have that or not. But yeah, I know that a lot of people talk about Canva as like the option. I know that Adobe has also come out with Express, I think.
Photopea. People are recommending Photopea.
Oh yeah, Photopea works the same as like Photoshop. There's a ton of fonts and everything in there. Yeah. So anyway, Helvetica crew, there we are. Why don't eggs tell each other secrets? Because they might crack up. All right. On that note, we are getting out of here. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. I guess we'll see you next Wednesday. Well, I will for sure. Claudia and I will be here rocking with you.
What?
So get those thumbnails ready.
Oh.
See you later.